one important lesson that just came to my mind at the moment is that if you are in power, many people nowadays are deceived by power. One of the big deceptions in the world today is power. A lot of people think that they can change and transform people's minds through power. So let me jump on power and then I will start changing people's minds. The Prophet ﷺ, if the Prophet ﷺ knew that power will make you close to the hearts of people, he would have chosen that. But power is a barrier, is a hijab. It stops you from being approachable. And it stops you from touching people's hearts. People would normally, or more actually, they would normally connect with a person with an individual who's very simple, whom they see as a day-to-day person they deal with, they speak with, they approach him. The Prophet ﷺ was not a king, and he did not want to be a king. Because when you want to speak to a king, you have to go through different levels before you're having access to the king. And this negates the essentials of da'wah. If you want to guide people, you don't want to have authority over them. You don't want them to be fearful of you. You don't want them to listen to you as if they're listening to a command. You want to speak to their hearts. You want to transform them from inside. Telling us nowadays that if you want to transform a society and to create a change, don't create it from the top down. Because being a king, yes, it might make people listen to you, but they will never love you. Ibn al-Wardi says, لا تلي الولايات, like don't accept to be in positions. For half of the people dislike the person in position. هذا إن عدل, even if he is just. Even if a person is just and fair, the fact that he is in a public position make people dislike him, make people criticize him, make people unhappy with his performance. You know, the fact that he is in public position. So if you are a person of da'wah, the last thing, in fact, shouldn't even be the last thing. One of the essential things that you should drop off your list is having a position or being in power. Because you don't want to tell people you got to do this and you got to do that and you got to. That's why we find that experiences of telling people what to do and what not to do when it comes to the relation with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is a big failure. What is in some Muslim countries nowadays to command people with what's seen as al-amr bil-ma'ruf wa-nahy anil munkar, commanding what is good and forbidding what is evil, forcing people to close their shops at the time of salah. That's not how you encourage people to pray. I was told by one of my students, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive him, he was living in Saudi Arabia for a year or so, and him and some of his friends went to a restaurant to have some food, and it was the time of prayer. So what they did, they didn't want to pray at that time because they have combined their prayer earlier. But there is no way they won't be able to say to the guys that we have actually combined our prayer and we have already done it. So he said, we told the guy that, he said, okay, I will have to close the shop anyway. So the owner of the restaurant closed the shop from inside and he sat at the backyard of the restaurant. So he was inside closing the shop and he didn't go to pray. And the guys stayed in the shop as well. So is that what you want to, is that the society that you want to create? A society that is very hypocritical, that is full of diseases and maladies underground, and a research paper will show how devastated is this society, how morally devastated this society. And on the top, on the surface, you say, you know, we are the proponents of Islam, we are the protectors of Islam, everything is all right. You don't want that in your family, you don't want that in your society, you don't want that in your community, you don't want that. You want people to be transformed from inside. Because when people are transformed, the transformation that happens from inside is persistent, is consistent, is going to last with people, is going to remain with people till the end of their life. But what is the value? The Prophet ﷺ told us that the most dangerous society is a society that is based on hypocrisy. The Quran said, إِنَّ الْمُنَافِقِينَ فِي الدَّرْكِ الْأَسْفَلِ مِنَ النَّارِ. The hypocrites are in the lowest level of hell. Why are they in the lowest level of hell while the clear disbelievers are not in the lowest level of hell? Because it is much more honorable to be a non-believer openly than to be a hypocrite who says something and does something else. We don't want to create a society of dichotomy. where people cannot live with themselves. Doing da'wah from a position of a king or a position of power is going to create that society, because people will be very afraid of saying what they believe in. They will be very afraid of telling the person, we disagree with you. Why? Because they can see the sword. When Al-Mu'izz al-Din al-Fatimi, a Fatimid Khalifa, came to Egypt, he used to spread the Fatimid da'wah in two ways, either by money or by sword. Bribing people, buying their belief, or killing them. So they said, ذهب المعز وسيفه, the gold of Al-Mu'izz and his sword. And what happened right after the Fatimid dynasty was terminated? The people of all the Egyptians did not accept Shi'ism, did not accept the Fatimid da'wah or anything like that. So I mean, the da'wah, as they say, da'wah cannot be propagated, or faith cannot be propagated by a dagger, and it cannot be propagated by power. The power that we should use in promoting Islam or introducing it to people is the internal power of the faith itself, which is love and respect and value. A good commodity does not need people to be hit to accept it or to embrace it. It has an internal power in itself. Allahu A'lam.